कोई भी गुजरात विधानसभा में आज तक जितनी सीट्स नहीं आई है, इतनी सीट्स लेकर हम लोग
इतनी सीट लेकर माधव सिंह सोलंकी 1985 149 सीट्स, उसको वो बीट करेंगे कि नहीं, देखने वाली बात है। आप सबका बहुत बहुत साधुवाद। एक ही आप सबसे आग्रह है कि अगर आप गुजरात में है, सौराष्ट्र में है, सेंटर साउथ गुजरात में है, बाहर जाइए, go ahead and vote. ये आग्रह हम सबकी तरफ से, we are unanimous that you must go ahead and cast your vote. Thank you very much.
धन्यवाद।
Thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening, this is Brastax. I'm Zaka Jacob. The entire controversy around the Kashmir Files film, which was once again stoked recently by Israeli filmmaker Nadav Lapid. He was the chair of the IFFI jury. He called it vulgar propaganda. That led to a huge backlash, not just from the filmmakers and the cast and crew of the film, but also from ordinary Indians. Mr. Lapid today has doubled down on his criticism, but he's making a distinction. He's saying criticizing a film is one thing, but he is not denying the reality of what happened to Kashmiri Pandits. Is that a convenient distinction to make? Should Nadav Lapid apologize, not just to the Kashmiri Pandits and the hell that they went through 30 years ago, but also to the film and its makers? In fact, in just 2 minutes, I will be speaking to Nadav Lapid, the man in the hot seat, the man at the center of this storm around the Kashmir Files, and I'll be asking him exactly that. But first, the story.
There were massive protests in Jammu today against Israeli filmmaker and IFFI jury member Nadav Lapid. The flashpoint was Lapid calling Kashmir Files a vulgar propaganda film. There's growing anger over Lapid seemingly dismissing the plight of Kashmiri Pandits in the valley.
दुख मुझे उन लोगों से है कि जो हमारे इंडिया में इस चीज को डिनाई करते हैं, उन्हें स्टेज देते हैं।
उन्होंने फिर से कश्मीरी पंडित के जख्मों के ऊपर नमक छिड़का है।
Lapid had publicly criticized Kashmir Files at the closing ceremony of the International Film Festival of India in Goa.
All of us disturbed and shocked by the 15th film, by the movie Kashmir Files, that felt to us like a propaganda vulgar movie, inappropriate for an artistic competitive section of such a prestigious film festival.
Despite Israeli diplomats shunning his remark and the cast and crew of Kashmir Files challenging Lapid to prove them wrong, the filmmaker is doubling down. Speaking to an Israeli news website, Lapid said, and I quote, "It basically justifies Indian policy in Kashmir and has fascist features. Transparent combination between propaganda and fascism and vulgarity. I knew that this was an event that is terribly connected. Everyone praises the government. In countries where people are increasingly losing the ability to speak your mind, someone needs to speak. When I saw this film, I couldn't help but imagine its Israeli equivalent doesn't exist, but could definitely exist."
उसका सिलेक्शन एज चेयरमैन ऑफ जूरी कैसे हुआ? तो इसकी तहकीकात होनी चाहिए, इसके अगेंस्ट एक इन्वेस्टिगेशन होना चाहिए।
The International Film Festival of India jury board has called Lapid's criticism of Kashmir Files his personal opinion.
If you misuse that platform for your own agenda, then you are yourself a vulgar.
The Kashmir Files is based on the exodus and killing of Kashmiri Pandits in the valley in the 1990s. But by claiming that the film adheres to the government line on Kashmir, is there a bigger conspiracy behind Nadav Lapid's words?
Thank you very much, Mr. Lapid, for speaking with us here on CNN News 18. First things first, the closing ceremony of IFFI and the speech of yours has gone viral. You called the Kashmir Files vulgar propaganda. Why did you describe the movie as such? I mean, you could have used any number of words to describe its filmmaking, its craft, its acting, its cinematography, whatever you may have chosen to speak about it. But why did you call it vulgar propaganda?
Hi. You know, the distinction between propaganda film and normal film, artistic film, of course, they are not clear. They are not formal. They are not evident. I mean, one cannot there's not a clear distinction between them. It's not like the films are coming with labels. In both, as you said, there is cinematic craft, etc., etc. And I'm totally aware of the fact that in the place where I saw a propaganda film, many other people can see a wonderful, excellent film. But since I was called to Goa in order to serve as the president of the jury, as I did in dozens of other festivals, in the biggest ones, Cannes, Berlin, and in others. My duty, my obligation was to tell the truth as I see it.
Mr. Lapid, was this an opinion that was shared by other members of the jury? Because after your comments and after your speech, they put out a statement saying none of the other jury members agreed with what you said and that it was your personal opinion.
It wasn't at all a personal opinion. It was when the screening of the movie ended, we looked one at the other and we all felt that we saw here something that goes beyond a good film or a bad film, beyond the film that you like or a film that you dislike. We all felt that what we saw was totally, for us, a different creature. It was totally a common feeling. The word propaganda came immediately. We all felt that the movie used a series of manipulation, vulgar ones, violent ones, because it was supposed to transmit a message that can cause also, I think, hostility and violence and hate.
But tell me, you're
what is
saying
extremely
there were
important
scenes that were manipulated. The filmmaker yesterday came out and challenged you, saying, show me one scene that has been manipulated.
attention to say what should happen in Kashmir, what should be the Indian politics there. I have, it's evident, but I have an enormous and full respect. Before answering, just to clarify, I mean that I will repeat 10,000 times the fact that I wasn't talking about Kashmir, I wasn't talking about the political issue, I wasn't talking about the historical question, I wasn't at any moment doubting, disrespecting the tragedy that happened in Kashmir.
Okay.
I talked about the movie, and such a serious topics deserve, in my opinion, a serious movie, and not a series of cinematic cheap manipulations.
Okay, now answer the question I asked you, please.
First of all, I think that the Israeli ambassador repeated exactly the same maneuver. Although he was absolutely aware of the fact that I was talking about the movie as a propaganda movie, he blamed me of talking with disrespect about the tragedy of Kashmir, which is that cinematically it's a populist movie that takes extremely serious, tragic, and complex event and simplifies them in a vulgar way. And for me, when you deal in such a way with human life, of course, to insult no one. My aim was never to insult.
All right, now let's open this up to our guests who are joining us. So Nadav Lapid, they're making a distinction, saying that his comments at the IFFI closing ceremony were restricted to the movie and nothing but the movie, and that he is in no way trying to insult what happened to Kashmiri Hindus or trying to deny what happened to Kashmiri Pandits 30 years ago. He feels their pain and he says he's willing to apologize because his comments have been misinterpreted. But as far as the movie is concerned, he says, according to him, it is a propaganda movie. Let me now go across to our guests who are joining us. Shaina NC, BJP spokesperson, Ashok Pandit, filmmaker, Liv Aaron is a journalist joining us live from Jerusalem, Ravi Rai, film director, and Nasir Abdullah, actor, joining us. Ashok Pandit, let me start with you first because you led a protest in Jammu today. There were a lot of Kashmiri Pandits who got offended by what Nadav Lapid said at the IFFI closing ceremony. I hope you heard what he said in the interview a while ago to me. He's drawing the distinction. He's saying clearly that his criticism was about the movie and not about what happened to Kashmiri Pandits like you yourself and your family 30 years ago. He feels your pain. He's not denying the pain, but his criticism was for the movie.
Zaka, I wish that you would have
made me question this white-collar terrorist, not a filmmaker, to respond to his lies and respond to his insult, his humiliation, and his abuses to a Kashmiri Pandit. He says that he didn't say anything about Kashmiri Pandits, he's with a tragedy. But he's saying that this film is vulgar and is a propaganda. Now this man, this white-collar terrorist, I would like to tell him that as a victim of the terrorism, as a victim of genocide of Kashmiri Pandits, Kashmir Files spoke what happened to Kashmiri Pandits. Kashmir Files is not on Palestine or on Israel. Kashmir Files narrated a story what exactly happened to me and my community. Just 25% of exactly what happened to me and my community. We have suffered the worst genocide than shown in the film. You say that this film is vulgar. You have insulted a Kashmiri Pandit. You say that this film is vulgar. This film is a propaganda. You have insulted me. You have humiliated me. And you have made a mockery of my genocide. This man has been planted there by the left liberals, by all those forces who are there out to break this country. There's a proper strategy which was planned as these people normally do.
Okay.
This platform was used to make India uncomfortable. And the reason why he was called here without any homework is quite shameful. This man cannot get away with saying what nonsense he has said.
Okay, so let me ask China and see that is a concern for Ashok Pandit and many people who've been incensed by these comments as to why was this gentleman invited, why was he made the jury chair of IFFI in the international section, because his views, including on the Holocaust, are pretty well known. Who made that decision to invite him? And surely some heads should roll for that.
No, I think Zaka, the fact that he was invited to IFFI is only one part of this debate. Let's understand that there were 4 other jury members who chose not to speak. They chose, if at all, the comment should have been on the technical aspects, if they had some expertise to give. Not to sit on a political comment where you have the ambassador of Israel also apologizing. And let's read the quote of the Israeli ambassador where he says it is insensitive and presumptuous to speak about historic events before deeply studying them, and which are open wound for India because many involved still around are paying a price. So you have the ambassador of Israel apologizing on behalf of Lapid. And I'm glad that on your show he has apologized. I don't think it's a direct apology, but the apology must be made known to the international world community, because you can't have an Israeli filmmaker come to India, have no knowledge of what the Kashmiri Pandits went through. And this film highlights what happens in the 90s in terms of an exodus and the kind of terror that one saw from Pakistan and all these terror outfits that tried to destabilize us and our country. This is an eye-opener. You don't say that the Holocaust is something you absolve the culprits for. You don't come and say this is a propaganda because you have no right to speak. You're not coming here as a political commentator.
Okay, so let me ask Nasser Abdullah.
Make 2 points. I just want to make 2 small points. Just
all right, quickly.
2 small points.
Quickly.
One is that Mr. Lapid has made an apology, but it should be an unconditional apology because he's not a political commentator. And number 2, as a country, the opposition and the ruling party, everyone must stand united because this is about India's image and what happened to our Kashmiri Pandits.
Okay.
So it's not
let me ask Nasser Abdullah that his apology was not an unconditional one, as Shaina said. It was a very conditional one. He says he apologizes to those Kashmiri Pandits who may have misconstrued his words, but he's certainly not apologizing to the filmmaker. So should his apology be unconditional? Secondly, the question that was also asked by Ashok Pandit and others is, if you are not part of this country and if you don't know the history of this country, if you don't know what happened to Kashmiri Pandits, why are you commenting on a movie that's been made about Kashmiri Pandit genocide? And most importantly, that movie was not one of the 4 that was awarded. That movie was, not even in contention for being awarded. So why bring up a movie that was not even in contention? What was the need for Nadav Lapid to make that statement at the closing ceremony?
Okay. So there are two thoughts in my mind right now. One is that I'll be interrupted by you soon. And the other is that Ashok Pandit, invariably, he gets very angry with me. So if you could restrain yourself, I'd appreciate it. Thank you very much. So here's the deal. I worked on a film called Gandhi in 1981 when Zaka, you were about 3 or 4 years old or whatever. When the film was made and the journalists happened to watch it, the expert, they said, oh, complete distortion of facts, this, they didn't put this, they didn't put that. They couldn't put everything anyway. And here is the result. It got it won 8 Academy Awards, okay? So this is how it works. People can dislike a film, that's fine, but ultimately the result was whatever. Now, here...
No, Nasser,
Okay.
Nasser,
So,
hang on,
here's
one second. People can dislike the film. Nobody has a problem with people disliking a film.
Right.
But
See,
that's
you've
not,
interrupted
that's not
my
what
main
Nadav,
point.
that's not
I'm-
what
I'm-
Nadav
I'm
Lapid
coming to
said.
I
He
know,
didn't say, I
know,
don't like the
I
movie.
know. I'm
He
talking
said
about
it's
it.
vulgar
Yes.
propaganda.
Yes, hang on. Yes, so hang on. Now you're interrupting me. You see, because I don't belong to the ruling party, I don't get a small piece of cake. Please let me. I was coming to that. You're wasting your time and the channel. So here it is.
Nasser, on
He
this
did
panel,
not
only
make
Shaina
a-
belongs to the ruling party. None of us
Okay,
belong to
see,
the
see,
ruling party. Go,
see,
okay,
you will
go
you will
on,
go
man.
on
Go
and
on, go on. I'm listening to you. Go on.
If you stop,
Go
man,
on,
I'll go
sir,
on. Here
go
I-
on. I'm
yes,
listening
sir,
to you.
sir. Yes, I know you're listening. So here is the deal. He made a statement about how he felt about the film. It was extremely violent, extremely whatever bloody. And because of that, I know a lot of people who didn't want to see the film because they had heard it was extremely violent. He did not make a political statement. He felt that the film was a misfit. It should not have been in the festival because it seemed to be, in his opinion, a propaganda film.
Nasser,
And
Nasser, no,
that's
Nasser,
okay.
Nasser,
What
can
do
I,
you-
since you
Was
brought,
he
since you
here as
brought,
a political
no, since
commentator
you
or as a
brought
As a film judge.
Gandhi into the equation, right?
technical
And you
aspects?
said you've
Yeah.
worked on Gandhi. If at the end of Gandhi, the first time people were watching it, people could have come out and said, good movie, bad movie, I like the movie, I didn't like the movie. But if they came out and said, this is a propaganda movie, how would you have felt as someone who
don't-
worked in that movie?
I don't give a hang. I don't give a hang. Please don't throw me around all over the place. Here is the deal. The Bandit Queen, which had so much violence, they showed the Bandit Queen being raped by 12 men over a long period of the time. You know what happened to me when I walked out in 1993, 94? I was ashamed of myself as a man. I was so shaken up, I could not raise my eyes because I've got 2 sisters, right? So when I saw this horrendous thing, and it won Shekhar Kapoor accolades.
Zaka,
It
allow
had
me a rebuttal.
lots of violence, but it was not about the politics. Now, people are overreacting on this. He made a statement because he sees it in a certain way. And it's okay. It doesn't mean the end of the world.
Okay,
No,
Shaina
you're
to
not
respond, and then I'll get Liv Aaron and Ravi Rai are also waiting patiently.
it is
So
not-
Shaina,
yeah,
very quick
I know.
rebuttal, please. Yeah.
No, it
This
is not
about.
it is not a
1 minute.
conspiracy.
Can I just come
It
in
is not
now,
a
please?
conspiracy.
Okay, I heard you, Nasser. Heard you.
Can I
Yeah.
come in now?
Shaina,
No.
only Shaina, please. Yeah.
Zaka, this is not about liking or disliking a film. This is not about the technical aspects of the film. He is trying to suggest that this was a one-sided propaganda when this film was doing just the opposite. Who is he to make a political comment? Does he know about the history of the Kashmiri Pandits? Does he know about the kind of terror activities that took place in the 90s? Does he know about the Exodus? It's like commenting on Schindler's List. Does anyone do that? Because you know that the Holocaust did happen. So please, if you're going to sit here and make these great political judgments and expect the Indian public or the Indian political fraternity not to stand up, I just appeal to you that even the Israeli ambassador speaking up is a slap on Lapid's face.
No, so I asked
please,
Lapid
let's
that, and I
all
want to ask
stand
Liv Aaron.
united
I
when
want
it
to ask
comes
Liv
to our
Aaron,
country
Israeli
and our
journalist who's
history.
joining us from
Everybody in
Rather
the
than
jury
just-
agreed.
Once again, only Liv
Everybody in
Aaron
the
on
jury
screen,
agreed
please.
that
Liv
Nobody
Aaron,
spoke,
we've
Nasir.
had, in response to Nadav Lapid's comments, we've had the Israeli ambassador, the consul general has reacted. I think former ambassadors, at least a couple of them I saw on Twitter, reacting to it, saying we completely disassociate with what he has said, and so on and so forth. I want to understand from you, what is the prevailing opinion of this controversy in Israel? Is Nadav Lapid's view something that's shared by all Israelis, or is it that all of these eminent Israelis, from the ambassador to the consul general to former ambassadors, came down on Nadav Lapid because they don't subscribe to his views, and certainly the people of Israel don't subscribe to his views?
First of all, thank you for inviting me. Secondly, I think hypocritic apology is better than no apology. So I heard some kind of apology from Nadav Lapid.
Mm-hmm.
It is not the suitable apology, but it is better than nothing.
Okay.
Now the next thing is that since we hear the English news and also the Hebrew news, we know it is all about politics. When he was speaking to the Indian audience, it was about cinematic text. But when he was speaking to the Hebrew newspapers, he was speaking about politics in Israel and India. So I don't know how he can deny that everything he said was about politics. And I think mostly people in Israel who follow this do not support Nadav Lapid, but support our ambassador.
What did he say to the Hebrew press, which he has not said to the English press or at IFFI?
Yes. In the Hebrew press, he said how worried he's about the right-wing policies in both Israel and India. And in Israel, he said that it looked like a neo-Nazi propaganda, what he saw in the Kashmir files. In the Israeli press, he said nothing about the fact that he has any sympathy to the victims of the Kashmiri exodus.
Mm-hmm.
All these things he says in English for the Indian audience. I can understand him, but I don't think this is really about cinematic text. I think it is about politics. This film is a right-wing film. He doesn't like this film. He had no reason to use his privilege as the chairman of the Goa Film Festival, Indian Film Festival, when he knew that the team of the Kashmir files, they are voiceless. They are sitting in the audience. They cannot really reply to him. The point is that it was not a panel that I express my views and then you reply to me and then we are like equals.
Correct.
It is a situation when a person has the privilege to say something when he knows that you are voiceless. And I think also for this, he needs to apologize.
Okay, so I think you've hit the nail on the head. And this is why, Ravi Rai, there are still suspicions about Nadav Lapid, because he's saying one thing to the Hebrew press, as Liv Aaron just said, and he's saying one thing to the English press. To the interview that he gave me a short while ago, he apologized to the victims of the genocide if they have misconstrued what he said. And he said he restricted his criticism or his comments just to the film, but clearly to the Hebrew press, and that's the giveaway here. He has been saying stuff about how this is a right-wing film and how he's worried about a right-wing government here in India and the turn of events here in India. So this is political, and this is also personal. This is no longer just about a dispassionate look at a film.
You see, Zaka, the very first thing when you say his apology was not an apology in any case. I mean, it came with an attachment and a tag, which he ended with, yet he believes it's a vulgar propaganda. I mean, he calls the ethnic cleansing of Hindu Kashmiri Pandits in Hindustan. I repeat, Hindu Kashmiri Pandit, 6 to 7 lakhs, ethnic cleansing in Hindustan. A propaganda? I don't think it's a propaganda. And Zaka, this comes from a man who himself has been a victim to Holocaust. I mean, his grandfather fled to Europe during the Holocaust, and he certainly knows there are 16 to 18 countries. If you deny a Holocaust, you'll be behind bars. I mean, in Austria, you'll be put to 10 years in prison. I mean, this man, and I'll tell you something, his knowledge about Hindu Kashmiri Pandits and the Exodus is as meager as Mia Khalifa and Rihanna's knowledge about the farmers in India and Malala Yousafzai's awareness of the Yazidi women under the Islamic or the Uyghurs in China or the prostitutions in Bangladesh. So his knowledge is just that. But my point there is, Zaka, every morning, as an Indian, we wake up to some immeasurable hurts every day. I mean, there is Richa Chadda's tweet, there is Nadav, and let me tell you one thing: it is not Nadav. I mean, this is a pre-planned statement. If this man thinks that Kashmir Files is a film which is not fit to be in the creative section or in the competitive, what about Schindler's List? What about Casualties of War? What about Amistad?
This is a toolkit agenda.
Born on the 4th of July. I mean, those films were there in the competition and they did win. I mean, how can you deny Schindler's List?
Ashok Pandit, as a filmmaker, do you second what Ravi Rai is saying, that, you know, as a jury, you are given a selection of films, I think 15 or 20 films. One second, Ravi Rai, one second. What I want to know is, Ashok Pandit, you are given a selection of 15 or 20 films. You have to watch those films once, twice, maybe 3 times. And then you have to come to a conclusion as to 2 or 3 or 4 best films. And you give them the Silver Peacock and the Golden Peacock and so on and so forth. As a jury member, do you comment on the films that did not make the cut? Or do you comment on films that have won the award? Or because of the limited number of awards, there was this exceptional film, we could not award it, but the jury wants to make a special mention of this film. Why would you want to talk about a film that you thought was badly made,
Zaka,
even if it was part of the panel?
Zaka, if you remember what I started with, I'm telling you again, this man was planted there. Again, courtesy of our own government, our own director of film festivals, they made a wrong choice. This man used this platform to his best. You saw what other jury members said Sudipto yesterday, that he was not supposed to talk about it. So he was planted there. He was ready to do this. He was prepared to expose or to ridicule or to humiliate India. By issuing this statement, he supported terrorism, because Kashmir Files is against terrorism. So he is ridiculed for Kashmir Files. He supported terrorism by ridiculing Kashmir Files. He has shot many bullets with 1 bullet. He has killed many people by just 1 bullet. He has done his job and he's gone away. And we are asking his apology. For me, more than him, I think the director of film festivals should apologize immediately, because they are responsible for this fiasco. Without any homework, we have called a wrong person. And let me tell you, Zaka, entire Goa Film Festival was full of left liberals, communists who were there moving around in different programs. So there has to be a thinking within us. There has to be a serious thinking within us. Who are the people? If they are India beaters, they have regularly hit at India. They are enemies within. There has to be a proper thinking going behind choosing the people who are the people who are going to be on the platform. Nowhere in the world this is allowed. Nowhere in the world. I am hurt today. I am insulted today. I am humiliated today. Not just because this man humiliated me. I am humiliated today because my own country has deceived me by making a wrong person the jury of the chairman of the jury.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. Can I just say something without your asking me a question? I can't, for the life of me, imagine that there was some sort of leftist, like a conspiracy or a toolkit or a bullkit, whatever. I regret, I'm ashamed of what happened in Kashmir. Absolutely. And I'm for it, that they be reinstated, etc., etc. But here is a man who felt very strongly somewhere that this was a little over the top. It was, and he was obviously very, very much into human rights, whatever it was, but he had the right to make an observation, and the jury members had agreed with him, but they chose to be silent. Say, no, don't interrupt me. Don't interrupt me.
But Nasser, the rest of the jury did not have that view. The rest of the jury did not have that view.
They did. He said they did, and they changed their mind.
No. The other jury members put out a formal statement saying that was not their view.
I heard him interviewing him. They were a
You're
bit
talking
disturbed
about
about the
acts.
whole thing, but they chose not to talk about
The
it.
film spoke the truth.
Did. So it
The
was a
film
misfit.
spoke the truth.
It's a great film.
The film
it's
spoke
about
the
the
truth.
truth.
Mr.
I'm not
Abdullah,
saying the truth.
you're talking
I'm
about
not
the
saying
acts.
that it is
Just
about
talk.
it is
Just
true.
because of talking.
The film is true. Mr.
It is the
Pandit,
truth.
shut up for a
And
minute.
truth prevails.
I know it is the
The
I
film
know
spoke
it is
the
the
truth.
truth. I
The
know
film
it is the
spoke
truth.
the truth.
Mr. Pandit,
Mr. Abdullah, don't
take
talk
a
on the
strepsil.
acts and
Take
don't
a
humiliate
strepsil.
me.
Take some
Don't
honey.
insult me.
I'm not
Okay?
humiliating you.
You're talking
I'm not
about
humiliating.
attack.
It is
You're
the
out of your
truth. I
mind.
know. I know the film is about the truth. I know the film is about the truth. I'm not denying that.
Yeah, then-
he just felt that
Then
it
what
was a
over the top?
misfit
What
in
are you
his
saying
inner
over the
heart.
top?
That
What
he
is over
felt.
the top?
Why should I?
What is
over
over the
top
top
means too
and
much
under the
violence,
top? Truth
too
is
much
truth.
blood, too much whatever. Whatever. He thinks.
That is
I don't
happened.
agree with him. He
That
thinks
is what
he's
has
entitled
happened.
to an opinion.
That is what
do you
has
want to do?
happened.
You want to
Mr.
hang
Abdullah.
him? You're going to hang him?
That is what has
Mr.
happened.
Abdullah, don't overreact.
Mr.
He's
Abdullah,
entitled to his opinion. Full
Mr.
stop.
Abdullah,
It's okay. And he's
Mr.
gone.
Abdullah,
He's gone.
Mr. Abdullah,
Abdullah,
I'm a
Mr.
filmmaker. Any
Yes, I
filmmaker
know.
has a right to make the film the way he wants to make.
Sure,
Who are you to
sure.
guide him? Who are you to
No,
advise
I'm not
him?
guiding him. He has a
This
right
is
to
going to
have
make
an
a film.
opinion. Is he,
We will teach
is
you
he
how to
allowed
make
to
a
have an
film.
opinion? Is he allowed to have an opinion?
The masses,
He saw
the
something
masses,
which I didn't
the
see.
masses
He saw
are-
it. He said it.
No, no, but you can't
I'm not
speak
saying.
lies.
I'm
You
not
can't
saying
speak
the
lies.
film.
You can't
I'm not.
humiliate.
Okay.
You can't
No, hang
humiliate.
on. You are
cannot
overreacting.
humiliate my genocide.
You are overreacting.
You cannot
He
humiliate
made a
my
per-
genocide.
He made
You
a
cannot
perverse
humiliate
statement. Okay.
my ethnic cleansing.
Go on. Now, go on. I am not saying that.
You cannot
I'm saying
humiliate
he
my
had an
genocide,
opinion.
Mr.
Full
Abdullah.
stop.
Our
Full
women
stop.
were raped.
Go.
Our
Oh,
houses
yeah.
were burnt. We were killed.
We'll
We have
have a
suffered the
discussion
exodus.
about that. Yes, I
Can't I
know.
say that?
It's terrible. It's
Can't I
terrible.
narrate my story?
I regret it.
Can't I
I'm not
narrate my
narrating.
story?
Don't tell
Can't I
me.
narrate
I'm not
my story?
defending
You tell
them.
me that.
I'm not defending them. You'll have a
Can't I
bad throat.
narrate
Take
my
it
story?
easy. Take it easy.
Am
Don't
I
shout.
right?
Don't shout.
Don't I have a
shout.
right
Shant
to narrate my story?
Samasta loka sukhino bhavantu. Om
Don't-
shanti
don't
shanti
I have the
shanti.
right
Take it
to
easy.
narrate my story,
I know,
Mr.
but
Abdullah?
don't shout so much. You always shout at me. You've been shouting for the past 10 years.
No,
I don't
because,
know why you
no,
hate
because,
me. I don't
because,
understand. I
because
haven't done
you're
anything
not,
to you.
because you're
Yes,
insensitive.
Yes. Yes.
Because
so
you're
it's okay.
insensitive.
So
You're very
I'll be
insensitive.
Yeah. So
You're
I'll be dying soon.
insensitive
So
to
don't
my
worry.
cause.
Don't worry. You will be rid of me.
Don't
I'll be
be
dying soon.
insensitive.
Bye bye. Tata.
Okay, one
Don't
second.
be
One second.
insensitive and don't give
Let
me
me
cap.
just pull back.
Okay,
Let me just
stop
pull
it,
back.
Don't be
man.
No,
insensitive.
one
Stop
second.
it.
Let me just pull back.
Stop
Over the
it.
top.
One second.
Under the top.
Yes,
Ashokji,
Mr. Pandit,
Yes.
going on and
Abdullah,
on.
That is what has
Yes.
happened.
Let me go to two other guests.
Zaka.
That is what has happened,
Yeah,
Mr.
go to the
Abdullah.
other
One
guest.
second. Let me go back to
Don't
Ravi
give
Rai.
that
Ravi Rai, the question that is being asked again and again is twofold. I asked him this question. You were the only one of the jury who had this view. The others clearly distanced themselves from this view, in fact put out a formal statement. Sudipto Sen came on television and denied that this was the view of the jury. So why are you lumping this as the view of the jury? He said, this is what all of us felt at the end of the screening of the movie. I was the only one who was asked to go up and speak, and I spoke my mind. Do you buy that?
I'll tell you something. It's not the Kashmir files that's a vulgar propaganda. It's Nadav Lapid who's the vulgar propaganda. You know? I mean, if you look at the whole scenario, the vulgar propaganda by Nadav Lapid is what the essence is. And it comes from a man. I mean, Israel is still fighting Palestine. I mean, is this man, can't he see that? They're still fighting Palestine. So is it not reality? Is it a false or a vulgar propaganda? And we, Zaka, we in India, I mean, we celebrate a film like Mughal-e-Azam about an emperor who did nothing. He was the worst in the lineage of emperors. But when it comes to a Bhagat Singh Chandrasekhar or the well-documented genocide of 7 lakh Kashmiri Pandits called the Kashmir Files, which is reality, which is truth, you call it a vulgar propaganda? At the age of, I've known Ashok Pandit since last 40 years, and I remember what he has gone through. But those were the days we did not even, like all the Indians, we did not even feel what he was going through. But today, I go through a lot of remorse. I burn within myself. Why was I quiet?
I'm coming to you, Shaina. I'm coming to you.
When 7 lakh Kashmiri Pandits were being thrown out, raped, they were hacked. They were raped. I mean, you know the whole documentation about it. And this man calls it a vulgar propaganda.
Okay.
But let me tell you one thing, Zaka.
Quickly, yeah.
These things, if you look at it, there is something called Bharat Jodo. So this is Bharat Jodo.
Okay.
The Richard Chadda tweet and Nadav Lapid.
Shaina, respond again. The point
together.
that Ashok Pandit also made a while ago.
Zaka, 1 sec.
You know,
Zaka, 1 sec.
Okay,
Zaka,
fine.
1 sec. Zaka.
Yeah.
Zaka, one sec. Zaka, anybody who's denying my genocide and is calling Kashmir files vulgar or propaganda, I request them to see my documentary which I uploaded yesterday called Kashmiri Pandits Ka Narsamhar. The real images shot in 1990s is there in that documentary, and please see to it that this white-collar terrorist watches this film, Nasir Abdullah watches this film, and then talk about Kashmir Files and see what Kashmir Files is all about.
Okay, Shaina.
He's not denying the genocide.
Shaina, final word. I've got to wrap up after that. Yeah.
Okay. So I think that obviously Mr. Lapid has done a complete U-turn, because he started by saying there was no exodus, there was no genocide, and this film is vulgar and a propaganda. So obviously, Zaka, there is a larger conspiracy behind this, which is a propaganda to defame India on the international platform, which is something India will not allow. The apology today is only a half apology. Having said that, the Israeli ambassador, the consul general, all of them who have said that, he can't vent his frustration on this forum. And as a juror, what was he asked to comment on? He was asked to comment whether he liked the film, did not like the technical aspects, the aesthetic aspects. He chose to make it about his political comment on India and what happened to the Kashmiri Pandits. Now, this is a figment of his imagination. To somebody who doesn't know the ABC of India's history and what the Kashmiri Pandits have suffered and the kind of terrorism that one saw in the 90s is obviously not going to be a comment made by Mr. Lapid or anybody who chooses to defame India, but by the actual facts. So my limited point is that this half apology is one step better than no apology at all, but he has a long way to clear his stance. I'm glad that the ambassador has written an open letter to him and asked him that what it is that prompted him to speak in such an obnoxious tone on India and India's history.
We've got to leave it at that. China, thank you very much. I'm completely out of time. Ashok Pandit, thank you very much. Liv Aaron also, thank you so much. Ravi Rai and Nasir Abdullah. Like Liv Aaron said, yes, there was an apology, but a half-baked one, if you will. Certainly not an entirely sincere one, and certainly not an unconditional one to not just the people who suffered back at that time, but also people who felt offended by his comments, including, of course, the film and its makers. I'm going to take a quick break. When we come back, actor Vijay Deverakonda, superstar in the South, has been questioned by the Enforcement Directorate for 9 straight hours. Find out why in just a few minutes.
Inquiry is complete. Karnataka School Education Minister B.C. Nagesh has also gone on to say that though everyone uses terms like Ravan, it becomes a problem when Kasab is mentioned.
No, it's not, sir. It's not. 26/11 was not funny. Islam terror is not funny. Being a Muslim in this country and facing all of this every day is not funny. Just like my son. No. Will you talk to your son like that? My son, no. Will you call him by the name of a terrorist? No. Khalas, how can you call him like that? No problem. In front of so many people in a class. Sorry, I told you. You're a professional, you're teaching. Yeah, sorry. You can't call me that. Sorry, I told you. The sorry doesn't change how you think or how you portray yourself here.
The name of Ravana comes many times. You behave like Ravana, you behave like Shakuni. It doesn't become an issue at all. When you speak about Kashyap, it becomes an issue. I don't know. He would have not used it because that is the young minds. Why such issues will be blown up again the reality? That is the thing. Means everything will be politicized only because again it is a politics. Again it is confirming the vote bank.
Let me now bring in my colleague Akshara, who's in fact been tracking all these developments for us. Akshara, 2 aspects to the story. One, of course, what is the action that is being taken by the university against this teacher and lecturer? And more importantly, the narrative that is now being set out by the BJP when we hear BC Nagesh saying that why is it a problem when comments like Ravan are made and only a controversy is created when a comparison to Kasab is drawn. So help us understand both these aspects. What is the action that is being taken against the teacher and what is the point that is being made by the BJP here?
Well, answering your first question, the Manipal Institute of Technology has suspended the professor who passed such remarks against the student comparing him to a Kasab. And they also released a statement wherein it states that they, in any chance, will not stand with the views of the professor. And right now, we are also seeing the reaction of Karnataka Education Minister BC Nagesh, who is still saying that it's not a big issue, it's not a big deal. And he's also saying that whenever someone passes comments like comparing them to Ravana or Shakuni, a big issue is not made out of it. But taking names of Kasab has made it a national issue, and he's also been questioning why is it being made a national issue. And he's also alleged that they're trying to politicize this issue. But again, you have the Congress who are saying that BJP is known for communalizing such issues and patronizing education, and requesting them not to politicize this particular issue which has come to light.
Akshara, what I also essentially want to understand, just going back to first that video that we saw, which of course has now become viral on social media, hats off and kudos to that student for actually standing up and highlighting, which is essentially a sensitive issue. But what was even more sad and unfortunate was the bit that you saw the other classmates and possibly friends of the student who were actually seen laughing and giggling. So what is the kind of measures that are being taken by the university at large to try and sensitize not just students but even professors at large?
Well, you see, it's unfortunate that what you mentioned about the classmates giggling and laughing at the matter while the students slammed the professor for the derogatory comments. Right now, the private institute, the Manipal Institute of Technology, has taken strict action against the professor, as we know, and they have suspended him and stated that they do not stand by the views, but also they have taken strict measures to ensure that such incidents do not occur in their private university. And we are yet to know what measures will be taken in order to sensitize the students in their university.
Okay, Akshara, what I also want to now understand is the political aspect. When you have BC Nagesh saying that politics are being intentionally created, why are we even seeing a row as far as these comments are concerned? Are we seeing the opposition also react? Any other political reactions that you're picking up?
Well, we are yet to receive any political reactions on this, but you see, a Congress leader who spoke with CNN said that the BJP is trying to communalize the issue and politicize the issue, and requesting them not to indulge and politicize this issue, because we have seen many such allegations before as well, where the Congress has openly alleged that and said that the present government and also BC Nagesh, the Karnataka Education Minister, is trying to saffronize the issue, saffronize the education in the state, and they also pointed out many such incidents.
Welcome back. There were massive protests outside Punjab Chief Minister Bhagwant Man's home in Sangrur today.
Hundreds of agricultural labourers gathered near the Patiala-Bhatinda road in Sangrur. They were protesting under the flag of Sanjha Mazdoor Morcha. The labourers demanded an increase of minimum daily wages to 700 rupees under Manrega. Raising slogans against the Punjab government, the labourers marched towards the Chief Minister's home. They claimed the CM had refused to meet them, leaving them no choice but to go to him. But when the protesters were a few meters away from Man's home, police swooped down. Police started using force on the labourers and also resorted to lathi charging them. Sangrur's SP was caught on camera hitting the protesters and directing other cops.
Bilkis Bano moved the Supreme Court today, challenging the early release of 11 men convicted of gang raping her and killing her entire family in the 2002 Gujarat riots. In her petition, Bilkis Bano said the decision on releasing the men should be taken by Maharashtra, where the trial took place, instead of the state of Gujarat. The convicts were freed on 15th of August by the Gujarat government. The Enforcement Directorate questioned actor Vijay Deverakonda for 9 hours in connection with the funding of his Bollywood film Liger. The ED is probing possible foreign exchange violations in the production of the movie. The agency suspects illegal investments in the film and is investigating the alleged payments and source of funds for Liger.
కొన్ని క్లారిఫికేషన్స్ అడిగిండ్రు చాలా మంచిగా వాళ్ళ జాబ్ వాళ్ళు చేస్తున్నారు వాళ్ళకి కావాల్సిన ఆన్సర్లు ఇచ్చినాము మీరు ఇంత ప్రేమిస్తారు ఆ ప్రేమతో వచ్చే పాపులారిటీ వల్ల కొన్ని ఇబ్బందులు ఉంటాయి కొన్ని సైడ్ ఎఫెక్ట్స్ ఉంటాయి అందులో ఏదో ఒకటి బట్ ఇట్స్ అన్ ఎక్స్పీరియన్స్ ఇట్స్ లైఫ్ అండ్ ఐ డిడ్ మై డ్యూటీ వెన్ ఐ వాస్ కాల్డ్ I came, I answered the questions and that's it I have to say.
Karnataka's education minister is facing flack for seemingly downplaying bigotry that happened in a classroom in Manipal University.
Will you call him by the name of a terrorist?
This video, a Muslim student calling out his professor for referring to him as a 2611 terrorist, Kasab, is going viral.
Not funny, not funny.
And now Karnataka Education Minister B.C. Nagesh has sparked a storm by seemingly downplaying the incident.
The name of Ravana comes many times. You behave like Ravana, you behave like Shakuni. It doesn't become an issue at all. When you speak about Kashmir, it becomes an issue. I don't know.
The opposition has called out the minister over his remarks.
Will you call him by the name of a terrorist?
When a lecturer who's supposed to be the guiding light for any student calls a student of a particular community a militant, and the minister says it's okay.
The professor in question has been suspended by the Manipal University.
YSR Telangana party leader Y.S. Sharmila, who was arrested on Tuesday after she tried driving to the residence of Telangana Chief Minister K. Chandrasekhar Rao. She got bail today. She's expected to meet Governor Tamilisai Soundararajan and express anguish at the way that she was treated. Sharmila's car was stowed away with her inside it when she refused to step out of the vehicle.
This only showcases the tyranny in Telangana, the atrocities of the Chief Minister in Telangana. The people in the party of TRS are no more leaders or karyakartas, there are only gundas in the party. And the kind of crimes they commit is hideous.
The Indian Army is holding joint training exercises with the United States close to the China border, the line of actual control in Uttarakhand.
With the majestic mountains in the background, the troops train for unarmed combat. In this exercise, they are training to ferry casualties when all the road communication has been washed off. The joint exercise is held annually to exchange best practices, tactics, techniques and procedures between the armies of the two nations. Around 350 soldiers from each side are taking part in the drills around 100 kilometers from the line of actual control with China. China has already opposed the exercise, calling it an interference in the bilateral boundary issue and a violation of agreement between New Delhi and Beijing that no military drill will be held near the LAC.
A petition challenging the ban on Popular Front of India was dismissed by the Karnataka High Court. The petitioner had argued that the centre had failed to justify the ban and that it curbs fundamental rights of minorities. The centre had ordered the ban back in September under the Anti-Terror Law UAPA after a series of countrywide raids. Tamil Nadu's ruling party, the DMK, has moved the Supreme Court against the Citizenship Amendment Act. DMK claims that CAA is anti-Tamil because it keeps out from its purview Tamil refugees who came to India from Sri Lanka, where they faced linguistic and religious persecution as they were predominantly Hindu. The party also branded the act as arbitrary as it relates to just 3 countries and is confined to just 6 religions. An avalanche was reported in Himachal Pradesh after a glacier broke away near a village in Lahaul and Spiti Valley.
A huge blanket of snow was seen barreling down the valley into the village below. Within seconds, the entire area was in the grip of a massive snowstorm. Strong winds were witnessed in the valley, causing disruption to normal life. But thankfully, there were no reports of damage or casualties. The avalanche occurred after a glacier broke away near a village in the Lahaul and Spiti valleys. An avalanche occurs due to the breaking of a thick layer of snow, which then slides down a steep slope. This comes at a time when heavy snowfall is occurring in Himachal Pradesh, which has caused road blockades. Last week, at least 72 roads across the state were blocked due to heavy snowfall, 61 of which were in Lahaul and Spiti.
India's GDP growth for the July to September quarter slowed down to 6.3% compared to 8.4% for the same period last year. The GDP growth was dragged down mainly by the poor performance of manufacturing and mining sectors. Despite this, India remains the fastest growing major economy in the world right now. China remains on edge as anger grows against the government's zero-COVID policy.
In the city of Guangzhou, locals clashed with police over the country's strict COVID rules. Police in white hazmat suits clutched riot shields to protect themselves from debris and glass thrown at them by protesters. Other videos showed cops swooping down on protesters and dragging them away in handcuffs. The latest unrest follows a wave of unprecedented protests witnessed in China since the weekend. In cities like Shanghai and Beijing, residents took to the streets demanding an end to the strict COVID measures. Some also called for President Xi to step down. China is the only country which continues to have a strict zero-COVID policy. Local authorities clamp down on even small outbreaks with mass testing, quarantines and snap lockdowns.
Former Chinese President Jiang Zemin, who led his country out of isolation after the crushing of pro-democracy protests in Tiananmen Square, has died. He was 96 years old. Jiang suffered from leukemia and multiple organ failure. He saw China through a revival of market-oriented reforms, the return of Hong Kong from British rule in 1997, and Beijing's entry into the World Trade Organization in 2001. Prince Harry's wife, Meghan Markle, was at the center of many threats made against her life, according to the former head of the counterterrorism department in the Metropolitan Police. He also called the threats against Meghan Markle disgusting and very real. The bombshell revelation comes at a time when Harry's estranged brother, Prince William, and his wife, Kate, are headed to the United States, where Harry and Meghan live. Brazilian football legend Pelé has been hospitalized as he battles cancer. According to reports, he developed swelling, heart issues and mental confusion. The 82-year-old had a tumor removed from his colon in September last year, and he has since been in and out of hospital for treatment on a regular basis. The Iranian football team's defeat to the United States in the FIFA World Cup triggered an unusual celebration in the home country.
Iranians dancing on the streets, bursting crackers, honking car horns and celebrating the loss of their national football team in the FIFA World Cup. These scenes of jubilation are actually a show of protest. Iranians denounced the football team's participation in the World Cup at such a tumultuous time in the country. For the last 3 months, protests have been raging across Iran against the death of Mahsa Amini, who was killed in police custody by Iran's notorious morality police for not wearing her hijab in a proper manner. More than 300 people, including children, have been killed in the protests since September this year. In their own version of protest, the Iranian football team refused to sing the national anthem in their opening match. But they went back to singing it in the following matches, leaving citizens to believe that they represent